This is an explanation of the article we found online titled, "What is God's name in Aramaic?" In Aramaic, God's name is Allah, or Allah de Nura, which translates to God of Light. Here's the table of contents and a conclusion, and it reads Yahweh in Aramaic. Have you ever wondered what God's name is in Aramaic? Many people are familiar with the name Yahweh as the Hebrew name for God, which actually isn't, because in the Tetragrammaton it has YHWH. It doesn't have the vowels as seen here, and it's supposedly in accordance with the pictographs means nail, hand, nail. So it's talking about Yeshua Mashiach, or Jesus the Messiah, Jesus the Christ, and what happened to him when he was crucified, nails in the wrist or nails in the hand. It's a prophetic hint at something that was going to happen in the future involving the Son of God, Yeshua Mashiach, Jesus the Messiah. And the language that Yeshua Mashiach, or Jesus, spoke, as well as his disciples, was Galilean Aramaic. Aramaic is a language that was commonly spoken in the region of Palestine during the time of Jesus, so it is natural to wonder what God's name would have been in that language. So that's referring to the Christ, not God. Here is Yah, which is supposedly is God. I'm not too sure what this is in the Hebrew. It could also possibly be spelled Yahwah, Yahweh, or Yahweh, Yahwah. We're not too sure on that one either. In Aramaic, the name for God is Allah, or Allah de Nura. This name is used in the Aramaic translations of the Bible, such as the original Tab Asheret Aramaic, containing the Lishana Artika Saprea, or the Old Tongue sacred scribal language of God, of which he spoke to Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. Up until the men at the Tower of Babel spoke that one language, before God confused them with multiple languages, then scattered them across that geographical location, the east, etc., to stop them from building the tower. And then, because they had multiple languages, they couldn't understand each other, so that's when it was referred to as the Tower of Babel, or Babel. So in Aramaic, the name for God is Allah, or Allah de Nura. This name is used in the Aramaic translations of the Bible, as well as in the prayers and liturgies of the Aramaic-speaking Christian communities. The word Allah is derived from the Semitic root El. Well, we don't think so, because the native-born Aramaic-speaking translator, filmmaker, Victor Nimrod Alexander, from Mesopotamia, Syria, who translated the Tab Asheret, the Aramaic, the Shana Artika, into the nearest English equivalent, has written on his translation project, the Downed website, va.com, which we resurrected or revived, that this was of the Canaanites, somebody, a descendant of Abraham, probably not Abraham himself, because he knew his God's name, El, so he wouldn't have done that. Somebody at some point transcribed it or transcripted it wrong. This was the Canaanite God, Canaanite or Ugaritic God of the Hittites, the Perishites, etc., etc. Okay, which means, supposedly here it says it means God. Okay, it means, it's supposedly the article the. Okay, so you have Elohim. The M on the end is like a plural, something like that. We, as far as we understand. So it would be the God, or the gods. Okay? This name emphasizes the divine nature of God and is used to show reverence and respect for the Almighty. So just be wary of that. El is the article the, and it's of the pagan, Canaanite, Ugaritic peoples. In the book of Genesis, when Abraham went in there with his people known as the Hebrews, the Awe, those who had crossed over, those who had made a passage. It is interesting to note that the name Allah is similar to the Arabic word for God, which is Allah. Similar, yeah, but not same, because this here, the A on the end, it looks like a vowel, but it's actually a consonant, considered a consonant. So this here shows duality or plurality. Plural, right? There's two or more. The Arabic word for God, which is Allah, or Allah, depends on how they say it, is a single monotheistic God. There is no other God beside God and the Prophet Muhammad. Right? He doesn't have a son or anything like that. He has no equal. That's according to Islam. This similarity reflects the close linguistic and cultural ties between the Aramaic-speaking Christian communities and the Arabic-speaking Muslim communities in the Middle East. True, because supposedly they are the grandchild language of the original Nabatean, of the parent languages, the Aramaic, the Hebrew, and the Syriac. Despite the differences in theology and practices, both groups share a common reverence for the one true God, whom they address as Allah or Allah. So this, you have to be very careful with this, because it could actually be wrong there. Okay, because the Muslims have the one God alone, the monotheistic God. There is no other. He has no co-equal. He has no son, etc., etc., whom they address as Allah. So one is monotheistic, i.e. Islam, and the other is monopoly or polytheistic. In the Aramaic-speaking Christian tradition, the name Allah is often used in prayers and hymns to address God and to express praise and adoration, because they usually sung their texts, they chanted them, right? Or sang them. This name is a reminder of the omnipotence and majesty of God, who is the creator and sustainer of all things. By using the name Allah, believers acknowledge the divine sovereignty and authority of God in their lives and in the world. Just be careful of these several imams of Islam that say in the Aramaic, the original ancient Aramaic, Allah is mentioned. It's the same as Allah. It's not, as we just determined. One is monotheistic and the other is plural. There's two or more, as in the triune Godhead. The use of the name Allah in Aramaic also highlights the importance of language and culture in shaping our understanding of God. Just as different languages have different words for the same concepts, so too do different cultures have different ways of expressing their beliefs and experiences of the divine. The name Allah carries with it a rich history and tradition that connects believers to their ancestors and to the teachings of Jesus Christ. So be careful here, be aware of this, that God has the title Ma-Ya, which means Master God. Okay, so he's known as Ma-Ya Allah or Maran Allah in the ancient Aramaic. And Yeshua Mashiach, or Jesus the Messiah, Jesus the Christ, is known as, or spoken of as Ma-Ya Yeshua Mashiach, or Master God or Lord God, Jesus the Messiah. In the New Testament, Jesus himself uses the Aramaic word Abba to address God as his Father. This intimate and personal name reflects the close relationship that Jesus had with God and the love and trust that he had in his Heavenly Father. By using the name Abba, Jesus invites his followers to approach God with the same sense of intimacy. and trust, knowing that they are beloved children of God. In conclusion, the name of God in Aramaic is Allah, a word that conveys reverence, awe and adoration for the Almighty. This name is a reminder of the divine sovereignty and authority of God, as well as a reflection of the close relationship that believers have with their Creator. By using the name Allah, Aramaic-speaking Christians express their faith and devotion to God, drawing on a rich tradition that connects them to their roots and to the teaching of Jesus Christ. Ilah in Aramaic. This possibly is Syriac, possibly, or another dialect of the Aramaic, or derivative. Have you ever wondered what God's name is in Aramaic? Many people are familiar with the name God in English, but what about in other languages? In Aramaic, the language spoken by Jesus Christ, that's the Galilean Aramaic, because he was a Galilean, and his disciples were Galilean fishermen. The name for God is Ilah. This name holds significant meaning and importance in the Aramaic language, and provides insight into the nature of God as understood by those who spoke this ancient language. The word Ilah is derived from the Aramaic root word Ilah, which means to be strong or to be powerful. This reflects the belief that God is a mighty and powerful being who holds great strength and authority. The name Ilah is used to refer to the one true God, the creator of the universe and the source of all life. You see, here it's saying God, the creator of the universe. So from the planet back into the universe, the galaxy, etc., that's what God created. And from the planet forward, the Son of God, Yahshua Mashiach, who is the source of all life, created animals, human beings, pre-Adamics, nature, etc., etc. It is a name that conveys reverence and awe for the divine being who is believed to be omnipotent and omniscient. In Aramaic, the name Ilah is used in prayers, hymns and religious texts to address and worship God. It is a name that is spoken with reverence and humility, acknowledging the greatness and majesty of the divine being. The use of this name in religious context serves to remind believers of the power and presence of God in their lives and the world around them. And a hint with Yahshua Mashiach, or Jesus the Messiah, Jesus the Christ, he has a title, Multa. Okay, there's no English equivalent in the Aramaic, so the translator Victor Alexander, native born Aramaic speaking translator from Mesopotamia, Syria, who translated the Tav Asheret and the Galilean Aramaic manuscripts of the Apostolic Church of the East, had to run around and find one that fitted it, and he found the word manifestation, which means something that wasn't revealed and then it was revealed. Also, it's used for revealings or revelations of God, or someone like John in Revelations getting a revelation or a revealing of something from God or through God. The name Ilah also carries with it a sense of intimacy and closeness to God. In Aramaic, the name for God is not a distant or impersonal life title, but a name that conveys a sense of connection and relationship. By using the name Ilah, believers are able to address God in a personal and familiar way, recognizing the divine being as a loving and caring presence in their lives. The significance of the name Ilah extends beyond its linguistic meaning to encompass the spiritual and theological beliefs of those who speak Aramaic, the Easterns, right? Those who are users of the Eastern terminology and Eastern theology and so forth. The name Ilah represents a divine being who is the source of all goodness, love and mercy. It is a name that evokes feelings of gratitude, reverence and devotion towards God, inspiring believers to live their lives in accordance with the teachings and values of their faith. In the Aramaic tradition, the name Ilah is not just a word used to refer to God, but a symbol of the divine presence in the world. It is a name that carries with it the power to inspire and uplift believers, reminding them of the eternal and unchanging nature of God's love and grace. By invoking the name Ilah, believers are able to connect with the divine being who is believed to be ever present and ever watchful over their lives. In conclusion, the name Ilah holds great significance in the Aramaic language as a name for God. It conveys a sense of power, strength, intimacy and closeness to the divine being, inspiring believers to worship and honour God in their daily lives. The use of this name in prayers, hymns and religious texts serves to remind believers of the greatness and majesty of God, and the importance of living in accordance with the teachings and values of their faith. So, the next time you think of God, remember the name Elah and the profound meaning it holds in the Aramaic tradition. Allah in Aramaic. And again they ask, seem to do this quite a lot, have you wondered what God's name is in Aramaic? Many people are familiar with the name God in English, but what about in the language that Jesus himself spoke, the Galilean Aramaic? In Aramaic, the word for God is Allah. This ancient language has a rich history and is still spoken by some communities today. That would be the modern Galilean Aramaic or Syriac. Let's explore the significance of the name Allah and what it means in the context of Aramaic culture and religion. Aramaic is a Semitic language that was spoken in the ancient Near East. It came from Aram, supposedly, in the genealogy list of the sons of Noah, the descendants of Noah's sons, etc., etc. He was the forefather of the Arameans. So, they named a place after him. When he passed or died, that was the name of the place that they were occupying at the time, and that's the language that they spoke. So here, this is Greek. The ik is the n suffix or prefix, indicating that this language is owned or in the possession of these people of Aram, the Arameans. That's their language.